Party's not a bat, he's a man who fights crime. And we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time. With John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minute!
Hello, and welcome once again to Bat Minute Forever, the podcast where we ask why. Oh God, why? While watching every minute of Joel Schumacher's 1995 Batman movie, Batman Forever, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And here to bring the sizzling action chat, it is I, John Parker, your other host.
Sizzling action chat. Oh, right, I get it. Sizzling.
Yeah, see? I alluded to something in the minute. It was clever.
I alluded to something in the minute. It's a line directly from the minute.
Yeah, that's cheating.
All right. Anyway, today we're joined by two new guests. I guess it's appropriate for the flashback showing you the origin of Two-Face. So we have all the way from Tombstone Minute, Titanic Minute, and now Forrest Gump Minute, Rob Lumley and Dan Marfield, also known as Duff. I should have asked Dan, do you want to be called Duff or Dan, or what do you prefer?
You can call me Duff, my internet persona.
We all have to have one these days. So, Niall, edit.
Yep. Rob and Duff. Thanks for coming on, guys, for a minute. I've been looking to get into this one for a while, frankly. I think
and our whole thing is that we don't allude to anything in the minute normally when we talk about stuff, so this works.
I edited one episode where I think 15% was actually talking about the movie at hand.
You're in the right place then. That's what we're also known for. Last minute was like over an hour, and how much did we talk about in the minute? I don't know. Sorry we couldn't get you on for the previous two movies, which, not to insult this one, they're much better.
Yeah, they are. They are.
But at least this one, you're good. It's more relevant, I guess, because you guys have spent some time dwelling on Sweet Valley K, Val Kilmer, and Tombstone for quite a while.
I had, for years, I had a Batman Returns cup that I bought at the movie theater, the special tie-in.
You had one of those.
Yeah.
I love those.
But, I mean, it finally cracked or just disintegrated. Cause
what the hell were you drinking out of it?
I had it for a good 15 years. It was well worth the $5 for a soda or whatever it was.
So we actually, at this one time, I wanted to throw acid in this guy's face, so I put it in that cup. Turns out I couldn't take it after 15 years.
Oh, what a shame.
But that was an allusion to what this minute's about. This is minute 26, which begins with, what? It just begins with what? What is happening? And it ends a minute later with the
GNN, baby.
Yeah.
Ends a minute later with Jim Carrey just like he is giving it his all, but I think in the wrong direction on this occasion, where it's a bit like this. We'll get to it, but like this is the one bit of Carrie, I've been like, nah, Jim, you completely missed the mark.
Wow, we are going to argue when we get to this point.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's wait for that. Because I have so many questions about GNN.
The Gotham News Network.
Gotham News Network. So this is like their CNN, right?
Yeah.
All right. What is their Fox News? What do you think?
I get the impression from Gotham City in these movies, maybe not in these two movies, but in the last two, everyone seems quite hardcore and scary. I think they would be watching whatever the Fox News is. I don't think they'd be watching this.
Oh, Gotham City is definitely a Fox News city. But my question is, if this is supposed to be CNN, like CNN is a national network. It's not like Atlanta CNN or whatever.
Yeah.
So like is Gotham City, I mean, obviously Gotham City is a stand-in for New York or Chicago, depending on what you're watching. But like, are we supposed to believe that Gotham has just developed its own cable news network?
Oh yeah, I'd say so. I imagine because of the the colorful antics that happen in Gotham, the rest of the country
Everyone
would want
wants
to
to
know about it. So they're like, oh yeah, tune in to
Yeah.
GNN to see what freaky weirdos showed up in that.
It's
crap
great
holes.
entertainment.
Also, like from what I understand from reading comics and watching Batman stuff, in a lot of ways, Gotham City is like New York and Escape from New York. Like, there's no leaving it.
Yeah.
Like that,
Yeah.
There's no world outside of it.
It's very
That's
insular,
where you
isn't
are.
it? Yeah.
Well, as we saw in the Dark Knight Rises, there's a bridge, and if you
Yeah.
f up that bridge,
That's it. We're
Like,
trapped.
I mean, I know that Manhattan is an island and whatnot, but there's more than one way off of it.
But in these movies, it's like Gotham seems like a fortress. There's no coming in. There's no getting out. You are in
But it's a
Gotham.
population of like 10 million or something like that.
You've never heard of an airport. Like, they're never going to an airport for any reason in Gotham City.
Yeah, like in the Nolan movies, like they. Like, if a bridge is taken out, they literally have to start ferrying people. Like, it's Oregon Trail all of a sudden.
To be fair though, like, how can you charter flights around Gotham too when you've got like a billionaire vigilante who has his own jet that he just tears through the sky, which has already crashed in the city streets once? Like, you could be just like, oh, we're going along. Oh, Batman's just flown straight past us, took out a wing, just because he's like, oh, turns out Poison Ivy's back. Oh no.
Does he have to wear reflective gear, like, when bicyclists are out at night? Like, it seems like he's going to get sucked into a jet engine or something.
That's a good point. He goes through a lot of hassle to hide his equipment.
What I'm saying is, I don't think Batman is FCC or FAA approved.
I mean, my biggest grievances ever in a Batman movie was in The Dark Knight when he's driving around that bike, and then there's a guy sitting like picking his teeth in his car wind mirror, and Batman zooms past, takes off that mirror, could have taken out the guy's arm, but the speed he's going, and then there's kids like shooting, like doing a little play gun thing in the back of the car. The car next to them blows up because Batman blew it up to get it out of his way, and it's like, those kids could have been in that car. That car could have landed on those kids. Like,
Hey,
this guy's-
Batman don't care. It's all about the greater good, damn it.
And again, who's going to pay for this? Some guy comes out like, Batman blew up my car. Like, I just parked it, legally parked it in a car park, and Batman blew it up. What the hell? What's going on?
Well, Batman's an extreme guy. Batman himself would watch Fox News.
The thing is,
He's a
Well,
bit
he
right wing, isn't he? Batman, I think.
I mean, in the last 30 years, Batman essentially has become a fascist. Like,
Exactly.
the Frank Miller Batman is pretty out there.
it's actually all next minute, but this movie does take steps to portray him, at least Bruce Wayne, the other way, where he's like, could go into like hardcore capitalist, CEO asshole mode, but he's like, no, give the family full benefits. Like, I know it's not covered by the thing. And he portray Bruce Wayne as a benevolent billionaire, if there were such a thing.
The
thing is, there is no such thing as a benevolent billionaire. But Batman is in the courtroom. He is there while Harvey Dent is, presenting his case against Boss Maroni.
Oh yeah, I didn't even realize. Yeah, that's a good point. I never really realized that he does jump out.
It's just like he just. The thing is though, because this is comics accurate. This is a thing from like the original, like the Crimes of Two-Face from like August 1942, which is why you can kind of forgive it for being like, that's an insanely dated idea.
That's the thing. But this is, at the time, a contemporary modern movie. You can't do that. It's stupid.
So was Batman like a witness? Was he a character witness?
Call Batman to the stand.
Yeah, in the original comic, that's exactly what happened. He was called up to testify against Boss Maroni, and I actually have the panels right in front of me here, where he's Batman sitting, the arms folded defensively, staring at Maroni on the stand, saying, "We had a fight, but Maroni got away. But he is the man who shot Bookie Benson." And Maroni's going, "He's lying, I tell you." And then Harvey Dent, because of the origin of his coin, is also explained in this panel, where he's like, "Well, here's the proof. Found on the scene of the crime, Maroni's lucky piece, a 2-headed silver dollar with his fingerprints on it." And then Maroni says, "Okay, pretty boy, I'll fix you," and whips out some acid and throws it in his face.
How do you get acid into the courtroom?
Yeah, don't they like pat you down or something?
But this is a thing like we'll be getting to when we're doing the long Halloween coverage, because they do address like that there was a mole working in Harvey Dent's office who got the acid to Maroney specifically so he could scar him and stuff. But in the original version, it was like, you just carry acid around with you. You never know when you might need to clean a drain. You never know when
everyone in Gotham has really easy access to harsh chemicals. Like, that's a big part of Batman.
Well, there's a lot of chemical plants in Gotham, as we know from the previous film.
So Gotham City is on the one hand is kind of like a stand-in for, it's the cultural hub of the world, but then it's also like a Rust Belt city where it's just chemical plants and warehouses. Like,
they can't decide.
It's every city, man.
Yeah.
It's every city because you can't leave it.
Yeah.
That's why they have to have all of this in one place, because there's nothing else. They can't bring anything in. They can't export.
It's like Truman Show, right? If he goes too far outside of Gotham City, you can't leave it.
I'd love that.
Just a wall.
Batman's flying the Batwing and it just crashes into a wall. God damn it.
The idea of Gotham City just being a city inside of a snow globe really is starting to make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I think we've cracked it.
As it turns out,
don't crack it though.
Yeah. Oh, be careful now.
Oh man, yeah. Also, does paper stop acid?
Well, this folder thing is, I think,
a folder.
This is them trying to somehow explain why his face is evenly splashed, but it just causes more questions for me, quite frankly. Because, well, one, they didn't have to have it that way. They didn't have to. They could have had like the line dividing his face be like a bit, all over the place and stuff.
Yeah, why isn't it jagged? That would make more sense, because now he has to awkwardly hold this folder up over his face in a really unnatural way.
But it seems that when you see that splash land, it goes over his whole face anyway. So it's
and it comes from the other side. He's covering the wrong side.
And there's, it's not a straight line. It's all over.
I just love that they had to do this a few times. That have Tommy Lee Jones awkwardly hold a folder and then just splash some like water on him.
That'd be great. And if he's really annoying you that day, you could just be like, "No, we're going to do it again, Tommy."
Yep.
For some reason, it looks to me like they threw Coke on him. It has the same. The color to me looks like is that Coca-Cola?
You don't want Coke splashed on your face. Jesus, that's sticky.
That's why Tommy Lee Jones was so crotchety to Jim Carrey. He was just like, I had to go through 6 weeks of shooting that one shot over and over and over.
Yeah, as you guys can imagine, Jim Carrey and Tommy Lee Jones did not get on.
Yeah, I've read about this. And to be fair, I think even people who like Jim Carrey, which I know Rob and I do to various extents, I feel like even if you are the biggest Jim Carrey fan, after just an afternoon, you'd be like, Jesus, I need to... There's too much.
I couldn't be his friend. He's one of those people I wouldn't mind seeing him out at the club. It's like, hey, it's that crazy guy. Hey.
He seems like a lot.
Yeah. It just seems like nowadays though, you see him interviewed, it seems like he's kind of gone in the other direction though, where he's very thoughtful. He's all about spaced out.
He's all about his political paintings now.
Yeah, his painting, his Twitter feed is kind of fun.
Yeah, I love it.
So he's one of these guys who's just into the law of attraction kind of stuff. He's got these kind of weird, not religious beliefs, but he has all this sort of like karmic ideas about the way the universe works and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And he just always seems a bit sort of like he is just out there. Like if you were talking to him, he would just be start pontificating about some random gibberish about like the way the universe works, and you just be like,
well,
okay, Jim.
I remember reading about when he was dating part-time model / full-time vaccine denier Jenny McCarthy.
Oh God!
how Jenny McCarthy's kid has autism because of the vaccines.
Oh yeah.
And Jim Carrey was like really great at communicating with her kid, and I swear I read some article where she referred to him as the autism whisperer.
Oh my God!
Come on! Oh no!
Oh no! You can't say that.
No, I'm
not you. Autism whisperer.
I don't think you should either.
But yeah, so he was like him and so I just Googled it. Jenny McCarthy calls Jim Carrey the autism whisperer.
He should just make that his Twitter name. The autism whisperer.
That's the thing. Honestly, then you think, oh, Jim Carrey, the man's sensitive to people with mental health issues, and then you remember that entire section of Ace Ventura where he's pretending to be insane and going around a tutu and stuff. And it's like,
look,
I don't think he is.
It's the early 90s. I mean, it was a different time, different era.
We've said it a couple of times, but that movie, it's very problematic these days. It does not hold up.
It is, but I think it's because I loved it so much as a kid. I will still laugh my way through that movie, and I know I shouldn't be. Like, there's still moments from like, still liking this movie though. Like, I'm just hold down so much into like that early enjoyment of it. I won't give it up.
I'm the same. I grew up loving it.
I mean, even the like really long extended gay panic freakout, which is deeply problematic, is still funny just because of
it's because of his overacting. That can make anything funny.
Well, when he's plunging his face and he's crying in the shower with the trash can, I mean, you know, I guess I have enough cognitive dissonance that I can still laugh.
I mean, if you wanted to defend it, you could say, like, well, maybe the joke is because he's overreacting so much to it. Like, it is because you'd be like, well, it's not that big a deal, dude. Jesus Christ, calm down. But
just change that you're laughing at him.
I don't think that's what they were. I think they were kind of going like, ew, kind of thing.
I mean, there was a movie for 12-year-old boys in 1993 or whatever. It is very much gay people and trans people are icky.
I just remember like weird things though, like, you know, not to get into the many problems of Ace Ventura, but like I remember there's a scene where he randomly calls Courtney Cox saddlebags, which I can only assume is referring to her breasts, and it's like, this is random. It's out of nowhere. He never apologizes for it. It's just like, it's a casual misogyny just thrown out in a kids movie. Like,
hey, but it's wacky, it's funny.
This was an era where like 90% of mainstream comedies had some degree of gay panic and objectification. This was, you know, I mean, I think it's because it was a big hit, but I think everything was like this, as I remember. There was some degree of gay panic, and, you know, I'm just remembering like the Farrelly movies, like Kingpin, where like what's her name, I don't even, Vanessa something, is some where the woman is in that movie and is just like, we're just gonna do some jokes about her nipples being hard. Like, that was, I'm pretty sure that was the entire rationale for that actress being in the movie.
Pretty much. And luckily we don't have it in this movie because it's the prime era for it. They didn't slip it in.
But
because, you know, we even have positive LGBT representation because Robin's gay. Let's be honest. He's a gay man, and everybody likes him visually.
That's true.
I was always kind of quasi-convinced this shot of Batman leaping over the court that he was actually wearing the old Michael Keaton suit, and I've been actually sitting trying to freeze frame it to see if there's nipples on that suit.
The yellow.
Is it just an outtake that they used so they didn't have to film another?
I don't think Michael Keaton would have had the agility to move in his whole suit like that. But
it does look very different, though.
It does. I think maybe if it's just the grain of the GNN footage,
or it happened a while ago, and this is the same Batman. So
it would have been amazing if they got in Michael Keaton to do this one scene, and Billy D. Williams was playing Harvey Dent.
Don't explain it.
It's like it splashed over the face, turned into Tommy Lee Jones.
It dyed the rest of his face. That was a weird thing about it.
Hey, I would buy that as an explanation rather than just recasting him.
I would have just gone full hog with it. Just had like Harvey Dent had a big purple face the whole time, and then when he got splashed, the other half turns into Tommy Lee Jones. And I'm like, well, what do you think it was going to be? The other way around.
I'm still devastated. I love Tommy Lee Jones, but I'm devastated we didn't get the Harvey Dent that we deserved.
Oh, maybe someday. You never know. There might be
Billy D. We needed you, man.
Always a hope. Always a hope that they might do at least some sort of like animated movie or just something to.
Well, I mean, you know, Billy D's coming back in the newest Star Wars, so maybe he could, you know, send a letter to Matt Reeves or something.
Hell yeah!
I'm just saying, like this, the timing is working out pretty well. We're in the Lando Renaissance.
Yes,
William December Williams.
I think though it's
greatest name in history.
I think that this week though, officially, I believe McConaughey is cast as Harvey Dent. So. And that's like I've been saying since we started the show. Like, you know who would be a good Two-Face? Matthew McConaughey. And just when I was switching my eyes, you know who would be a better Two-Face? Oscar Isaac. They turned around and went like, no, Matthew McConaughey's cast now. I'm like, all right, well. Can't complain, I guess. But
Well, it's because we haven't got this season out yet, as of recording, so they haven't heard your change.
Yeah.
If only.
They won't believe it.
Matt Reeves has been sitting around taking notes the whole time. It's like, why? He wants Natasha Lyonne for Commissioner Gordon. I don't know if I'll be able to swing that one, but
That is the greatest fantasy casting we've come up with, I think.
oh well, maybe someday. But well, speaking of casting, talk briefly about this guy playing Boss Maroni, or Salvatore Maroni, as he's known classically now. Although back in the day, he was called Boss Maroni when he was first introduced. Then it was changed to Boss Morelli. Then it was changed to Vincent Maroni, and now it's Salvatore Maroni. Mostly known by people nowadays because he was played by Eric Roberts in The Dark Knight, who of course is the brother of Julia Roberts, who was in Joel Schumacher's Flatliners. So
everything's connected.
Everything's all connected. This actor is called Dennis Palladino. He's actually in some things that are just like he's always like Thug number 3. Like he's one of those actors where he's in a lot of stuff, but it's not prolific roles.
Hey, he's making that money. He's bringing the checks in.
I think one of the things he's in is something called Lookin' Italian, which is a 1994 Matt LeBlanc movie. That It just looks like one of those movies, like those spoof movies that put Joey in Friends, where you're like, it's like a mockery of a gangster movie or something.
Well, and I like the way it's called Lookin' Italian, because he looks Italian, Matt LeBlanc, but he's clearly like French.
It's true.
So it's kind of making fun of that.
Yeah, maybe.
Every crime syndicate person in Batman is like from the Corleone family.
Everyone.
Well, again, that's in The Long Halloween. Like they lean so heavily into The Godfather in that book that it's like to a point where you're like, all right, dial it back a bit, Jeff Loeb. Like I appreciate the subtle nods, but like every damn issue has to have an allusion to The Godfather with like the Roman Falcone and Sal the Boss Maroni and stuff.
Well, as of recording, we're going through The Long Halloween on the Patreon show, and I haven't read it. I'm reading it as we go along. So
it's great.
If we
it's very good.
So far, it's great. We're only two into it though. But if there's a bit coming up that has a bloody cannoli in it, I'm going to be angry.
I had to tell you, John. I think there is.
I hope it's literally a bloody cannoli too.
Now that would be cool. I'd be on board with that.
One thing though that I was really on board for, like, and I'm surprised to see it got such a low rating. But another thing that Dennis Palladino is in is something from the mid-90s called Witch Hunt that stars Dennis Hopper, and it was directed by Paul Schrader, the guy that did like Taxi Driver and stuff.
Oh, the seal of quality right there.
You can't go wrong.
But the actual the plot summary is: in a twisted 1950s where everyone does magic, a private detective investigates a murder case without it, and it stars Dennis Hopper and Debbie Mazar, who's also in this movie. I was like, that sounds like that would be amazing. Why
my
the hell is
first
that a bigger
question
thing?
there is, if this is a world where everybody does magic, why are they solving a case without magic?
We should go and investigate. The Patreon episode right there, John. We have to go to find Paul Schrader's Witch Hunt and find out what the hell's going on.
Is it Witch Hunt as in WITCH, or is it more like a witch hunt? I'm not sure.
Witch Hunt.
I'm assuming because it's witches because it's magic or whatever. But like it's just pitching that to me is like, the guy who wrote Taxi Driver and like Blue Collar and stuff.
Yeah, it's Paul Schrader. You never know what is going on in that guy's brain and what degree of quality he's gonna churn out. It's.
I think when he did that Exorcist prequel. That was so awful. They had to get in Rennie Harlan, of all people, to try to fix it for them.
But then, like, on the other hand, he did, like, his last movie, First Reformed, was pretty good.
Yeah.
But then, like, I think before that, his previous movie was that movie with Lindsay Lohan and the porn star James Dean, spelled differently than James Dean.
Oh, he was in that?
He directed the Canyons, I think, which...
See, James Dean, the porn star, he's been cancelled now.
Deen, yes.
Yeah.
He's bad.
He's a bad person. You're not allowed to like him anymore. So no, strike this movie from the record.
Go take down your James Dean porn star poster.
I've got them all piled up in the corner of the room now. Yeah, I don't know what to do with them.
Yep, you're
gonna have
unfollow him on Pornhub.
You're gonna have like an Ace Ventura-esque breakdown where you like burn them in a bin while you were in the shower crying and stuff.
Just let me down.
One last thing Dennis Palladino was in that I had to I have to bring this up because again, it's 91, so yeah, in the early 90s you get away with these kind of movies, I suppose. Where he was in something called Switch, and the plot line is a sexist womanizer is killed by one of his former lovers and then reincarnated as a woman. It stars Jimmy Smits and Ellen Barkin. So,
that sounds great, actually.
That sounds wonderful.
That's the type of movie you could make before the social justice warriors on the internet ruined everything.
Oh God!
That and kind of sounds like Shallow Hal to a certain degree.
Yeah,
Does anyone remember that movie?
Yeah.
Where
speaking of the Farley brothers, Farley brothers,
where Jack Black is hypnotized into the outrageous concept that plus size people can be attractive.
What? No, don't be ridiculous.
There's one thing though in here in the newscaster's delivery of one of her lines that made me start questioning things, because she says Dent's left brain damage then caused him to become a violent criminal, and I was like, shouldn't that be more like Dent's resulting brain damage? And I was just even thinking wait, brain damage? Are they saying that the acid, rather than it being like a psychological break, whereas in the backstory of Harvey Dent classically now, it is he was always a troubled man. And then this was the thing to drive him over the edge. This is indicating, and it's even in Joel Schumacher's commentary, he's like, oh yeah, the acid left him brain damaged.
Yeah.
Is saying, so the acid is what turned him evil. It literally went in his ear and affected his brain chemistry so much that he became, so it's not like a complex character. It's just no, you could pour this in anybody's ear and it turned into crazy loco man.
This was the same time where you could buy head-on, guys, and you could just rub something on your head and it would get rid of your headaches. So yes, that's how this works.
There's something like that here at the moment. And how is that supposed to solve your headache? Isn't physically on your head. Oh, God.
My dad used to use head-on, and I finally was like, what are you doing, Dad? How could that possibly work? Think about it for 1 second.
The answer is always essential oils. That's
essential oils.
I remember something though I took when I was doing what would be the equivalent of the SATs over there, the examinations to get you into university over here. And I remember I was very stressed at the time, and my dad had this thing he bought from the pharmacy. It's it's some little droplet things that it's supposed to help you calm down and stuff. And I remember tasting it. It's this tastes a lot like whiskey. And now I'm over the years, I'm
whiskey.
I do think maybe they were just secretly, we just put whiskey in little tiny bottles and then sell it.
Isn't that
to
the
children
traditional
to calm
Irish
them
method? That's what all you Irish do to calm down.
Yeah, well, maybe it was culturally over here. It might make sense.
I was about to say, even in America, I don't know the exact year, but it was. I still think up till maybe, I want to say the 1950s, it was socially acceptable. It's oh, the baby's crying, just dip your finger in whiskey and have them suck on it.
Yeah, same here, yeah.
I don't know the exact cutoff, but it later than you think.
That's how Bruce came up with this whole Batman idea. He's still grieving for his parents, and Alfred's have some more of your droplets. Alfred is just lying around pissed. I'm gonna dress up as a bat, and I'm gonna oh yes, of course you are, sir.
That's what caused all of this, the drinking. And then that also explains a lot.
20 years later, he's I didn't think you'd actually go through with it, but I did encourage him, so.
In Wisconsin, where I live, you can if you're at a bar or a restaurant and you give as an adult a drink to your kid, that's legal.
You can do it here if it's a restaurant, I think, and they're eating.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's what it is.
You couldn't do it in a bar, I don't think.
Maybe that's the case. Yeah, it is. It's some weird thing. I know, at a wedding, if it's in Wisconsin, you could give alcohol to your kid if the parent gives it to the kid.
I wonder if there's a limit on that, though. Could you give them 6 pints of beer?
Hey, parents know best.
Yeah. It used to be legal here as well.
We fought a war so we wouldn't be told what to do about
freedoms.
about giving liquor to children.
That's what it was all about. God damn it. Yeah, it used to be legal here as well to take a kid like to an 18 movie or something, or a 15 movie like our ratings are. I don't know if you can still do that, but it used to be, yeah, if you were the parent, doesn't matter if your kid's 8, it's like, I want them to watch this horror movie with me.
Oh,
perfectly fine.
I think it's been like that forever. I think if it's R, you can go if a parent brings you.
I think I'm trying to decide if I like that or not. I mean, as a kid, I used to just watch Aliens.
Because I remember the first R-rated movie I saw in a theater was Last of the Mohicans.
Ooh.
And that was rated R, but my parents brought me, so perfectly legal.
It was historical.
Yes. It was educational.
Yeah, be like demystifying everything. That was like, well, you can see that adult movies can be very boring. So you're just like, here you go.
It's not all.
Hey, I like Last Mohicans a lot. It'd
be like that Simpsons joke where like they have, we're going to sneak into an R-rated movie. It's called Barton Fink. And then also like Jazz is going to see Barton Fink, not knowing that it's like this really warped, surrealist, crazy friggin' low-key drama and stuff.
Back in the minute for a second, I did research the different parts of the brain.
So
okay.
To take it then, so she's saying left brain damage as in the left hemisphere of the brain has been
Because I thought the same thing, but it was really weirdly worded, and then it's the left side of his brain that's been damaged, which this is contested.
So then he can't write with his right hand. Isn't that how that works? That like the left hemisphere controls your right
allegedly
side.
But again, I think people contest this. It's one of those things that's kind of up in the air. They argue with each other because the left side is, this kind of makes sense though. It's connected to logic, linear thinking, mathematics, facts, analytics, thinking in words, things like this. So it's like your very logical side of your brain.
I think that does make sense in the fact that he loses like the ability to make decisions and whatnot.
Yeah. Because the right side, which is now his dominant side, that's linked to imagination, intuition, art, visualization. So that makes sense for his character, doesn't it? Like he's very arty. Look at that outfit.
Although the thing is, again, we'll get to many, many minutes time, but like he's blatantly making decisions and then just waiting for the coin to give him the okay. Like at the end of the movie, he's sitting flipping that coin about 50 times, just waiting for it to land the way he wants it to land because he already wants to shoot Bruce Wayne and stuff. So, but again, we'll get to that when we get to it.
You need the justification to do it, though. Damn it!
It causes brain damage, but it doesn't impact any physical abilities. Like you'd think, like if we're really going with the Two-Face, like half of them would be limping and one side of his mouth wouldn't work. It'd be like when someone has a stroke, maybe.
Oh, I'd like that kind of a Two-Face. That'd be interesting.
Well,
droopy face.
One thing I'm always really intrigued by in Two-Face stories is that, like, because they don't do it here, but like usually Two-Face has this big open exposed eye, like on the scarred side.
Oh yeah.
And I'm always wondering, like, can he see out of that, or is it like because he can't? I'm assuming like the way they portray it is as if like no, the eyelid is burned off, so he can't get any moisture.
He sees all the time. He has to. It's like a parakeet. You have to like put a bag over him to go to sleep.
I need to see that scene.
Yeah,
I think that would be the thing that would drive me crazy. Is like, oh, the scars are pretty bad, but I can't close this one eye.
Yeah,
it's
that's
perpetually
probably
dry.
why he's so angry. Is because he can't go to sleep because he can't shut his eye.
The worst.
That does sound bad.
They did actually kind of address it in what's currently coming out in DC Comics is this Harleen series, where they're going in like a deep, long, drawn out dive on the origins of Harley Quinn, and they're taking it very seriously and stuff. But they concurrently, along with her, it's the rise of Two-Face is happening, and they have a bit where Harvey Dent's scarred, and they have his point of view waking up, and the scarred half's eye, like the vision, is all lined in red, and it's all really distorted and stuff. I was like, I appreciate that, though. They're trying to do something there. It's like, yeah, you can literally only see properly out of one eye now. The other one just looks like it's, it's almost because perpetually red. And red's supposed to be the color that evokes rage and stuff like that. Maybe that's it's adding into his constant mood and stuff.
Now they should, if they redo Two-Face, it should be like a face transplant gone wrong.
Oh, like that. Like that woman that the chimp attacked?
Yeah, like he's a full victim, like a full burn victim, and then like halfway through the face replacement, things go awry.
I'm glad you mentioned that chimp thing, right? Because it was only a couple of years ago that I remembered that was a thing. And it was like halfway through the day at work. And I'll be honest, I then just spent the rest of the day not working and reading about it on Wikipedia and stuff. And reading articles.
It was a famous chimp. It was like a chimp who'd been in a bunch of movies. And, and it just had enough.
Dunstan checks in.
That chimp had enough. Didn't want to do any more crappy movies.
Don't blame him.
Ripped its owner's face off.
Found out it lost that role in Friends to that outbreak monkey. God damn it! But anyway, then of course we got Bruce Wayne. Although, do we have any other before we move on? Any other further thoughts on the scarring of Harvey Dent?
No,
other than it being ridiculous.
The one thing I'll maybe get them is that he's holding the folder steady. So, and then it seems to be seeping through. Actually, no, I can't give it to him. It doesn't make any.
Wouldn't hold the folder that way.
No, it doesn't make any sense. I think, I've probably said it in the past. Anyway, I don't get Two-Face's, like, splashing someone with this, like, a bottle of acid. Sure, it would mess up their face. But the fact that it's the entire side of one half of his head, I just don't think it would go. Like, you get maybe the brunt of it on your cheek and it'll splash up on the bits of your forehead and stuff. Maybe your ear and things like that. But down, like, literally the back of his head, and that half is also scarred with it. It always struck me as a little bit like, they do it kind of better in the animated series where they have, it's not Boss Maroni. He's up against our old friend John, the Batman villain who's begging to be in a movie, and has been based. So many characters have been based on him, from Carl Grissom, the Max Schreck. Rupert Thorne was Harvey Dent's adversary, and they meet like a chemical plant or something, and then Harvey Dent's out running across a catwalk, and like this guy comes out with a Tommy gun and like shoots it up in the air, and these wires get shot, come down into the chemicals, and an explosion results. So from that, I could believe, like, the impact of the explosion and the chemicals would cover the entire side of his body. But this to me always strikes like, just throwing a little bottle of something into somebody's face. I just don't think you would get the entire side of them. It's never struck me as a...
Let's test it out.
Yeah.
It's the only way to find out. That's the new Patreon for you guys.
There we go.
Yeah. We'll throw acid at the other person's face and see how much your face gets scarred.
We'll do it if we get enough subscribers to the Patreon.
I will say, like, if someone wants to, if a patron wants to donate $100 or more, we will come around and throw acid in your face, and you can be the stool pigeon that we use. That's a stool pigeon. That's not the right term at all.
They have to pay for the acid, though.
Yes, of course.
Of course.
Mm-hmm.
Where else would we obtain it anyway? I mean, I don't know. You have to provide your own acid.
It's not Gotham City.
Oh, Jesus.
But anyway.
Well, I have a thing here because you hear in the background as it transitions from that scene to Wayne Manor, you hear how Harvey blames Batman for what's happened. I don't really know why. It doesn't explain why. Because if you just take that scene into account, it seems to imply it's because he didn't jump in front of it quickly enough. Of course, we know that the wider context is probably... like Batman didn't help him put these guys away or something like that. I don't know.
Also, in the thing we talked about earlier, like in the novelization, they have a whole chapter of Batman talking to pre-scarred Harvey Dent and convincing him to go after these criminals. And then when he's like, Harvey Dent was planning to retire, and then Dent been like, well, you promise you can protect me from these people? And Batman's like, of course I'll protect you. So then when he ends up losing everything and having one side of his face scarred, and apparently the acid leaking into his brain and altering him that way.
Maybe it's because the world's greatest detective didn't figure out someone brought acid into a courtroom.
Like the first thing you would check. Like, nobody's got any weapons.
Yeah.
Also, he was aiming at the stenographer, and Batman coming in there and stopping it ended up having it resulting.
It bounced.
He was actually just going after the stenographer because they wanted to strike something from the record. It was just whiteout. Yeah. He was just trying to throw some whiteout on the stenographer.
We've uncovered the truth.
I just like the idea, though, that like Batman wasn't there as a witness. Like, he was just there on like jury duty, And he was actually in the jury, sitting at the back talking to somebody and like not paying attention to what was going on. And then he's like, "Oh!" and just had to jump up. And at that point, like the acid had already been thrown.
Batman on jury duty sounds like a hilarious concept, where he's just sitting down in a jury pool reading a magazine, like waiting to see if he gets picked.
He's there all day, just like tapping his foot, like, what's happening? Am I going to get picked?
He's like reading Gotham
How do they
Beat.
contact him with this anyway? Because you need to send a letter out. Batman doesn't accept
tape it to the bat signal. It comes up there.
Yeah, bat signal with a gavel on it.
Yeah. That's the sign, the international symbol
for jury duty.
But anyway,
yes, there's been the phone goes.
Yeah,
there's been an accident at Wayne Enterprises.
No,
I mean, well, we'll get into it like from this point onward. But like, I can kind of get them contacting the CEO to be like, "Oh, one of your executives just killed himself," or not even executive, but just like some guy who works in your R&D department has killed himself.
Yeah.
And I can understand maybe
that.
Bruce Wayne being a compassionate enough man to be like, well, I want to go down to see this, to see what happened. But when it cuts then to the scene where you see Palpatine's window and like all the results around it, I don't know, why is the police commissioner there? Why would you call the police commissioner? Doesn't he have better things to do? Why is he like...
He doesn't act like what I think a commissioner does. He acts like he's just sort of the boss of the department. I imagine the commissioner's got like a bunch bigger things that he's doing.
Yeah, of course, this should be like
paperwork.
The commissioner is not a beat cop or like working individual cases. Like the commissioner is like behind a desk most of the time.
Yeah. That's exactly what I imagined him to be doing.
I know a lot about police commissioners because my mother's favorite show was none other than The Commish.
Oh.
That was that starred Michael Chiklis as the commissioner, and I learned a lot. So I can't tell you anything. All I actually remember is that the commish had an awkward relationship with his teenage son, and his teenage son really wanted something for his birthday, and so the commish guy gave him two crash test dummies,
like life-size ones.
Yeah, and we kind of learned then that that he just wanted the crash test dummies on CD.
Oh, that's
he just
great.
wanted them. And the commish was like, I didn't know why he wanted some smashed pumpkins. Oh, man, the commish.
That's great.
Thanks for all that.
I genuinely kind of want to go watch the commish now. Sounds like it was great.
Coming soon, Patreon show where we watch the commish.
A room full of writers who were very old thought those jokes were hilarious.
I had someone once. I was in like a library somewhere, and me and my friends were talking about the Smashing Pumpkins. It was era appropriate, let me say. And I think the librarian overheard us and just walked over and was like, "Smashing Pumpkins? Not in here, you won't be." What? Are you trying to be funny? Like,
I can imagine they were like, "Oh, I'm gonna zing these kids, but they're gonna think I am the greatest when I come out with this one."
Years ago, they were talking about Rolling Stones in the library. Can't do that.
Madness.
But now I just kind of wish the commish starred Pat Hingle. It was just an official spin-off. And then that was just Pat Hingle doing all the Michael Chiklis stuff. Like, I can imagine him getting into all those kind of middle-aged, befuddled men shenanigans. But I don't, because this still seems to me like, oh, we need police presence, so Commissioner Gordon needs to be there. This should have been like Renee Montoya. Or even Harvey Bullock or someone, just like any other cop. But why is the police commissioner of this major metropolitan city, which is apparently so overrun with crime that they need Batman, has been called down to check out some guy's suicide? Like, what? It makes no goddamn sense to me. It's basically just like Pat Hingle needs to have at least 5 minutes of screen time. So get him in for this scene as well, I guess. It's in his contract.
Well, though, when you see Bruce... He knows something's up. Maybe he's called Gordon, because the look on his face, he suspects that it might have something to do with his weird interaction earlier in the day, I think. Because Because that look on his face, he knows something untoward has gone down.
Yeah, that is true. That was a very bizarre interaction earlier with old Ed.
I don't
Yeah,
know
incredibly
if he does, though,
creepy.
'cause if you had those suspicions, then when like the and this this is next minute, but like when the envelope shows up and all that kind of stuff, if you're already suspecting like that Edward Nygma guy seemed a bit off to me. When you start getting these harassing riddles and the guys, you would just be like, I'm going to go over and talk to him myself and be like, is it you piece of shit? But
just punching him in the face.
maybe that's why this guy, that's why Paul Michael Chan is talking to Edward Nygma, because like he just seemed like one of Bruce Wayne's people earlier. But he was swanning around behind him. But he actually does get a line here where, I don't know, you guys recognize that's the guy from Falling Down, like the put upon shopkeeper who, like, Michael Douglas trashes his whole damn store.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good. Should we just allude to what we're going to, because we can talk about all about we can do a deep dive in Jim Carrey next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do
Okay.
that.
So
That works.
we have Edward Nygma here putting on a show. And you, why? Oh God, why? 2 years working in the same office, and just very, very overselling his grief at the
At the same time, though, Niall, I got 2 genuine laughs out of this section of the movie.
Yep, me too.
Because it's when he goes, "What? Why? He was like my father, my brother, a cousin who visits all the time."
Yeah, that part made me laugh too.
I mean, I'll give it even the whole thing of like, he left this in my office. You'll notice that the handwriting and spelling is exactly accurate to his and stuff.
That's the other.
Like, I get that is funny in concept, but just in the movie, it's just like, this is a bit silly, isn't it?
No, it's hilarious. The handwriting matches.
He just got done putting a weird helmet on, and like this movie's established silly already with him.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's not breaking or anything.
Yeah.
Well, Niall, as well, I think you might disagree with this then. In the draft script that we always work off here, it describes this bit in this fashion. It says, with augmented brain power, apparently comes augmented acting talent. Which you could argue that's a lie.
But that's the whole, actually. Yeah, because now I want to go into a whole big thing. So shall we? Because there's so many questions to go on with this particular bit of the 2 minutes. So should we move on to the next one?
Yes, we will let you all mull over the wonderful line of the handwriting matches his exactly, as does sentence structure and spelling. Think about that, everybody, as we depart, as we go into the dark, dark night. Would our wonderful guests like to tell everybody where they can be found online? Your shows, and if they just want to send you personal harassment.
Yeah, probably the thing we're doing when this releases is we'll be doing a Forrest Gump minute. We're kind of breaking the format, guys. We're doing it 4 minutes at a time. You see, Forrest Gump, 4 minutes at a time.
That really works in American accents.
Yes.
Do we all all sound like Forrest Gump to you?
No.
Quite a lot.
Jenny. Yeah, so we'll be doing that, or you can find out more at forrestgumpminute.com.
Yeah, check it out, everybody. And you probably know where to find us, let's be honest. Just come to Facebook, the Bat Minute Listeners Cave, tweet us at Bat Minute, and check out the Patreon, which we've mentioned 1,000 times this episode for some reason. We don't normally bring it up so much, I promise. And we will see you again on Friday for more Bat Minute Forever.
Next time, suspicious suicide. Fred's final farewell via fenestration from the world of DC is found to be a definite case of felo de se. But while Stickley's seppuku saddens his CEO, will the arrival of an equivocal envelope signal a new foe's first blow? Find out Friday. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute.
Ba-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da. Da da ba da da